Welcome back, Trojans. Today is April 25th, 2023. First off, holiday of the week.
Today we're letting out our inner Lorax and talking about Arbor Day. Arbor Day is a holiday where people are encouraged to plant trees. Alright, that's it. Roll credits. Jokes aside, Arbor Day is pretty simple. So where does it come from? Well, the first ever documented tree planting festival was held in a Spanish village in 1594. Lime and horse chestnut trees are still planted in that village to this day. In a different Spanish village, the first modern Arbor Day was launched by a local priest in 1805. The first American Arbor Day originated with Nebraskan city official J. Sterling Morton. On April 10, 1872, an estimated 1 million trees were planted in Nebraska. Bursey Northrop visited Japan in 1883 and delivered a speech all about Arbor Day. He was also made the chairman for the committee to campaign Arbor Day worldwide. Bro is pretty much the Lorax. Arbor Day is celebrated in a bunch of other countries, but they do pretty much the same thing. So I'm going to show you pictures of interesting looking trees instead. Check out this dragon's blood tree. In case you're wondering why they call that, here you go. This one's called a baobab. This shaggy tree is called a weeping willow. And lastly, this tree got struck by lightning and is now on fire on the inside. Pretty neat. Anyways, that's about it for this episode on trees. See ya.
Born June 7, 1958, Prince Rogers Nelson, commonly known as Prince, was an American singer, songwriter, musician, and record producer. The recipient of numerous awards and nominations, he is widely argued as one of the greatest musicians of this generation. American musician Prince, who created groundbreaking music that fused funk, rhythm and blues, rock and roll, and pop, was one of the biggest stars of the 1980s and 90s. Sadly died at age 57 from an accidental overdose.
Lastly, talk about forensics.
Mr. Horton, I know all of you, and we have Ms. Malvo to thank for this. She's my partner in crime. Yes, literal crime, which is why we have a forensics person to show you how not to get caught. So I'm over CTE, and forensics is a part of that program. So you all are here for that purpose. If it's something that you're interested in, hopefully you hear something today that piques your interest and pushes you on to the next phase of what you want to do. And so we have our speaker today, Ms. Jennifer Clay. Ms. Jennifer Clay.
So my name is Jennifer Clay. I am the CODIS administrator at the Houston Forensic Science Center in Houston. So I'm going to go into a little bit of the science. This is heavy in science and math whenever you're going to be a DNA analyst, and there are actual courses that are required by the FBI in order to be a DNA analyst. So you have to have at least those classes. But DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It carries your genetic information, basically defines who you are as a species. You get half of your DNA from your mother and half of your DNA from your father. And about 99.7% of our DNA is the same. There's that 0.3% that actually differs. And that's the area that we look at. We are not making copies of all of your DNA. We are just looking at very specific, highly variable regions of the DNA in order to get a profile or comparison. Okay, so we test for the presence of bodily fluid. These are not real crime pictures. I took these off the internet, so you guys can all see. But there's like just examples of evidence that we get, so like shirts left at a robbery, or firearms, or beer bottles, or bloody knife. That looks like a scary movie. So this was a little exercise. You guys can play along. I don't know if I could get the answers. Yeah. Okay. So if y'all want to just shout out the answers here, that's totally okay. You don't have to raise your hand for this activity. So if I have a baseball bat that's left at like a robbery from the suspect, where would I want to swab the baseball bat? Or
the bottom.
The handle. And maybe it's probative to find out if there's blood on the end of the bat, because they can say, oh, that's the victim's blood. We'll have unknown profile on the handle. So yes,